When Africa's greatest striker are mentioned, Didier Drogba's name is loudly called out. From the streets of Abidjan to being English Premier League first African player to reach 100 goals. Let's dive into Drogba's untold story. This is Football Investigated. Didier Drogba was born on 11th March 1978 in Abidjan, Ivory Coast. At a time, Ivory Coast was facing its worst financial crisis in history. At the age of 5, his parents sent him to France to his uncle, Michael Goba, who was a professional footballer for SC Stade Brest. His parents wanted him to go and study and not to engage in football. However, due to homesickness, Drogba was back home after 2 years. He played football every day in a car park in the city. But his return to Ivory Coast was short-lived. Both his parents lost their jobs and he again returned to living with his uncle. At this time, it was when he took football seriously. He was playing as a right back until his uncle told him that only strikers are the ones who were taken seriously. In 1991, his parents also traveled to France, first to Vannes and then in 1993 settling in Antony in the Paris suburbs. At that point, the 15-year-old Drogba returned to live with them and his siblings. It was there that he began playing team football more frequently, joining a local youth side. Drogba then joined the semi-professional club Livoire, gaining a reputation as a prolific scorer in the youth team and impressing the coach with his professional attitude. His performance earned him a place in the senior squad, but despite scoring in his debut, the 18-year-old Ivorian failed to make an impression on Jacques Lancard, the first team coach. When Drogba finished school, he moved to the city Le Mans to study accountancy at university and changed clubs, becoming an apprentice at League 2 club Le Mans. However, his first 2 years there were marred by injuries and he was physically struggling to cope up with the training and match schedule. Former Le Mans coach Marc Westrolop later remarked that it took Didier 4 years to be capable of training every day and playing every week. Furthermore, Drogba had never attended a football academy and only began daily football training as an adult. By age 21, Drogba realized that he had to establish himself as a player. Soon or else, he would have little chance of becoming a professional footballer. He made his first team debut for Le Mans soon thereafter and signed for his first professional contract in 1999. His first season, in which he scored 7 goals in 30 games, boded well for the future. But during the following season, he did not live up to the expectation. Drogba lost his place at Daniel Quans due to injury. Then upon his return, he failed to score throughout the remainder of the season. However, he returned to form the following season, scoring 5 goals in 21 appearances. Things weren't as good as they were, since upon returning from injury, he wasn't played as the main striker. He was displaced to the wing section. His role was suddenly reduced. After scoring 15 goals and providing 1 assist in 71 appearances for Le Mans FC, January 27, 2002, Drogba signed with Guingamp for €100,000. He had gone to replace Fiorese, who had joined PSG. Drogba was now playing in Ligue 1, top-tier competition in France. He was given full faith by his coach. Everyone at the club was convinced that Drogba was to become a key part of the club's success. He was then 23 when he had started his life at Guingamp. Things did not start well as he lacked confidence and goals in the pitch. His first campaign with Guingamp wasn't that successful as he only scored 3 goals in 11 appearances that season. While his contributions helped the club avoid relegation, the coaching staff remained unconvinced of the new young striker. However, the second season started pretty well for the young striker as he was prolific in front of goal. He went on scoring 17 goals in 34 appearances and helping Guingamp finish 7th, a record league finish. He credited his teammates for his impressive season, highlighting the contribution of winger Florentin Malouda, a longtime friend. Everyone was talking about the young striker in Guingamp. His goal-scoring record had attracted interest from many clubs in Ligue 1. After 1.5 season playing for Guingamp, it was time to say goodbye. He scored 24 goals and provided 7 assists in 50 club appearances. In July 1st, 2003, Drogba signed for Marseille for a fee of around 6 million. Marseille were in their rebuilding process as things weren't as good as they were in the late 90s. They were badly in need of success. Drogba was eager to link up and fit in with his new teammates. Things started pretty well for him in Marseille. He was scoring goals and helping out his teammates in the pitch. He scored a goal against Real Madrid in the Champions League and a hat-trick against Partizan, and also scored a goal against Porto. He was bossing out in the Champions League and getting attention all over. Marseille would then drop out to the UEFA competition and would continue his goal-scoring record in that competition. Finally, they would fall out in the final against Valencia as Barthez gave out a penalty. He finished the season as Marseille's Player of the Year and club's top scorer amid his Chelsea takeover by Roman Abramovich, and the new manager Jose Mourinho wanted Drogba at Chelsea. After one season with Marseille and 55 appearances for the clubs, he managed to score 32 goals and providing 7 assists. He left Marseille for Chelsea. Drogba at Chelsea. In July 20, 2004, Drogba signed for Chelsea for a fee of around 38.5 million euros. Jose Mourinho was key for Drogba's movement, as he once said that Mr. Abramovich asked him who is Drogba and where does he play. Jose Mourinho told him, Mr. Abramovich, you just pay and don't worry. Life started first in London. He was then the new main guy for the team. He was scoring goals. He was not only scoring goals in the Premier League, but also in the Champions League. During the 2004-2005 Champions League record in the Champions League, Drogba scored 5 goals in 9 games. The first silverware came as they beat Liverpool 3-2 to win the 2004-2005 Carabao Cup. Chelsea's perfect record with Drogba continued, that they won the 2004-2005 Premier League with Chelsea. Chelsea won the league with a perfect record of 29 wins, 8 draws and 1 loss, 95 points. They were crowned the champions of England. He scored 10 goals and providing 5 assists in that season in the Premier League. 2005-2006 season was the title defending season. Drogba started the season by scoring 2 goals in a Community Shield win over Arsenal. Drogba only managed to score 1 goal in 7 appearances in the Champions League. October 8, 2005, just after Ivory Coast won their place in the 2006 World Cup, Drogba united the whole country. There was a civil war between the Christians at the south and the Muslims at the north. Drogba, in unison with the team, knelt down before the press. Men and women of Ivory Coast, he began. From the north, south, center and west, we proved today that all Ivorians can coexist and play together with a shared aim, to qualify for the World Cup. We promised you that the celebration will unite the people. Today, we beg you on our knees. On cue, the players sank to their knees. The one country in Africa whose so many riches must not descend into war. Please lay down your weapons and hold elections, Drogba urged. He scored 12 goals and provided 11 assists in 20 appearances that season. The season was crowned by winning the English Premier League back-to-back in successive years. They won the league with 91 points, 4 draws, 5 losses. He was prolific in front of goal. He guided Chelsea into winning the FA against Manchester United, as he scored the only goal against United. Due to his great performances with the national team, Ivory Coast, in the 2006 World Cup, he was named the African Player of the Year. In the 2006-2007 season, Drogba was named the Premier League top scorer of the year after scoring 20 league goals. That season wasn't as successful as the past 2 seasons were for Chelsea, as they came second after Manchester United won the league. Drogba scored the only goal against Manchester United to help them win the FA Cup final. The 2007-2008 season began badly for Drogba, as he expressed his doubts after the departure of Jose Mourinho. He was reportedly in tears when Mourinho told him that he was leaving the club, and said Mourinho's departure destroys a certain familiarity we had at the club. Many of us used to play for first and foremost the manager. Now we need to forget those feelings and find another source of motivation. Chelsea finished second after Man United won the league, only 2 points behind them. The 2008-2009 season wasn't that successful for Drogba, as it was full of injuries. He only managed to score 5 goals and providing 5 assists in 15 appearances in the Premier League. He managed to help his team leave the 2009 FA Cup after helping his team win 2-1 goals against Everton. This was his second FA Cup in Chelsea. Chelsea fell short to Manchester United in the Champions League final after they lost 6-5 on penalties. The 2009-2010 season, there was a new coach. The new coach, Carlo Ancelotti, was in town, ready to propel Chelsea into winning more trophies. Drogba was clinical and efficient in front of goal. He was having quite a good season with Chelsea. The new boss had found a perfect way of capitalizing in his abilities, together with the assistance of his teammates, helping him score more goals. Drogba guided his team into winning the FA Cup final in 2010 after winning it the previous year, thanks to his solo goal after a wonderful free kick against Portsmouth that helped Chelsea seal their win. Chelsea won the 2009-2010 Premier League with 27 wins, 5 draws, 6 losses, and a total points of 86. Drogba was crowned the Premier League top scorer after scoring 29 goals. In the 2010 World Cup, Drogba together with Ivory Coast came out the Group C as number 3 with 4 points, beating North Korea, a draw against Portugal, and a defeat to Brazil. Due to his great performances, he was named the African Player of the Year. The 2010-2011 season was here. Drogba was then 32 years of age. Age was catching up with him. He wasn't as clinical and fast as he was, although his goal-scoring record was still good. He was sidelined severely due to sickness and injuries. This disadvantaged him in front of goals by scoring less goals. He only managed to score 11 goals in 30 appearances in the Premier League. In the 2011-2012 season, he was scoring crucial goals when the team needed him to do so. He helped Chelsea reach the FA Cup final after beating Tottenham Hotspur 5-1. He also guided his team in beating Barcelona 1-0 in the Stamford Bridge and securing a Champions League final place against Bayern Munich. Chelsea beat Liverpool 2-1 to win the FA Cup final, courtesy of goals from Ramirez and Drogba and a consolation goal from Suarez. This was the 4th time Drogba won the FA Cup final, UEFA Champions League final 2012. In the Champions League final on 19th May 2012, Drogba scored the equalizer from Juan Mata's corner in the 80th minute, taking Chelsea into the extra time and then penalties. He also scored the winning penalty in the 4-3 penalty shootout that led Chelsea to the victory over Bayern after scoring 160 goals in 372 appearances for Chelsea, 3 Premier League and 4 FA Cups. His first time at Chelsea was over at that time. In 2013 January, Drogba joined SH Shenhua in China. He was then 35 years. He saw the rest of his career in SH Shenhua, Galatasaray, and a return to the Premier League under Jose Mourinho. He later joined the Major League Soccer, playing for Montreal Impact and finally playing for Phoenix Rising. Within the span of those 5 years, he won the Turkish League and the Super Cup with Galatasaray and winning the Premier League for the 4th time with Chelsea. He managed to score 23 goals for Montreal in 41 appearances, 16 goals and 26 appearances for Phoenix Rising, and 8 goals in appearances for Shanghai Shenhua. Drogba's international career wasn't that successful in terms of lifting trophies, as they came so close to lifting the African Cup of Nations, but their efforts did not yield, as they lost the 2006 final to Egypt and the 2012 one to Zambia. Drogba managed to score 65 goals in 105 appearances for Ivory Coast, becoming the all-time goal scorer. In 8th November 2018, Drogba said goodbye to what was a beautiful and successful football career, with 19 major honors for clubs, 2 times African Player of the Year, and in addition winning the Ivorian Player of the Year award 4 times. He is remembered to be among Chelsea's top strikers and Ivory Coast's all-time goal scorer.